And they push for the open borders and the high taxes and tripling the size of government and new wars and torture and Homeland Security and Northcom. And in April of 2008, the Bush White House has the Justice Department under Mukasey put out the MIAC Homeland Security report. They put out the Master report stating the #1 enemy of the government and of Northcom and Homeland Security is gun owners, conservatives, returning veterans that are gun owners, libertarians, in the fetters, Ron Paul, Bob Barr. Then we get the information in January, we release it, and the media, Fox News, picks it up and says, oh, look, Obama issued this. And Obama did reissue it and did expand it. But the point is, I knew back in 2007, 2008, that Glenn Beck, Sean Hannity, Neil Bortz, all of these guys had gone to the White House, met with Bush over and over again, came out and told us he was a man of God we should trust, a man we should love. And I knew, because I'd had previous Homeland Security reports distributed at the state levels. We'd gotten and released more than 30 over the years, a lot more than that. Look at my films like Road to Tyranny and Police State 2000. You know, films made 8 years ago, a film made 10 years ago. In the case of Police State 2000, you see everything that's in the MIAC report and in the Homeland Security report that got so much attention finally last year, but being issued by Bill Clinton, by George Bush, by Barack Obama. It doesn't matter. It's the same. And so when I saw Glenn Beck and Sean Hannity, Limbaugh never really did it. He's kind of his own person, but still establishment. But, I mean, these guys are actually getting talking points from the White House. When I heard them giving out exact talking points, I said these guys are obviously enemies. These guys are posing as conservatives so they can control the true constitutionalist movement that's the real threat to the global takeover. And so that's how I knew back in 2006, 2007, Beck was bad, because he's always been the worst. Sean Hannity, a close second, saying arrest all militias, make them illegal, every child needs a microchip, you know, stuff like that. And I'm not even paying much attention to these guys. I'm too busy. And it just gets worse and worse and worse by the minute. And so you look at all the countless examples of sabotage against real patriots, against real libertarians, against real conservatives, against people that are truly anti-New World Order. It's as clear as the nose on my face or your face. I mean, you can see my nose right now if you're watching PrisonPlanet.tv. It's there. It's clear. It's like watching a duck swimming around in a pond and saying, is that a duck? Gee, I don't know. And he's shown himself again with this Deborah Medina thing, where she just said, that's not a state issue. I don't really get into that. People have a right to their opinion. Oh, my God, you're a 9/11 truther. And within 35 minutes, the robocalls from Rick Perry and Kay Bailey Hutchinson and the big neocon blogs were saying it's over from her. Because they know if the fake left attacks Deborah Medina, a true states' writer, a true nullification person over federal control, 10th Amendment, now called Tenthers by Newsweek, they know a left attack would only embolden her. So they got to have a phony right-wing attack, which is what Cass Sunstein talks about in the White House memos. And in all these white papers he's written, the regulations are, he says, we've got to pose as these anti-establishment people to get them infighting with each other. That's the only way we get credibility. And again, it's very complex, very sophisticated. I'm just giving you the basics here. And I noticed in the last 3 months, all these editorials, there were 5 of them in the last week and a half, a big one in National Review by Pipes, saying, Obama, launch a war against Iran or your candidacy is dead. Israel tells him that. His chief of staff, who's admittedly an Israeli army member, Rahm Emanuel, tells him that. Now, again, Obama's a puppet, but he doesn't want to commit political suicide. But they're saying, you do this or we're going to destroy you. We're going to allow an impeachment. We're going to remove you. But if you play ball, and Sarah Palin openly said this on Fox News a week and a half ago. You know, we played the clip here. She said, if you play ball and play the war card and do what, you know, declare war as I think you should, you can pull the clip up. We played it here. then you're going to win in 2012. And I'm basically not going to run against you. And then I heard Glenn Beck start beating the drum 3 weeks ago that 9/11 truthers are revolutionaries, and they're figuring out that Obama's going to continue the torture and the wars and the secret arrest, and so they're going to kill Obama. And I don't really even watch his show. I can't stand it. But this morning, I watched a clip that's up on prisonplanet.com and a story titled, "A Message to Glenn Beck, What are the Dangers of the 9/11 Truthers?" Excellent article by Joe Robertson. And it was a repeat of what Glenn Beck said that I heard on the radio, but even worse. And he said, I fear for Obama because the left, the 9/11 truthers, which aren't the left, it's just the American people. So, again, he makes it a left-right paradigm. And he has this left-right paradigm up on the screen of the left and the right. He says he's against the left-right paradigm, but every graphic he shows, every chalkboard illustration at a third-grade level for his audience, he shows it, and he says, oh, everybody's on the left over here that thinks 9/11 was an inside job, when it's not a left-right issue. They're scared of populists finding out about this. They're scared of it not being seen as conservative if you're pro-war. They're losing control. 9/11 truth is even bigger than it ever was. I mean, this morning on 590 AM, caller after caller calling in about Building 7, they weren't even discussing it. There's been a total loss of credibility by government across the board, whether it's Obama or George Bush or Sarah Palin or Rick Perry. And so from all the clear evidence I've seen, and Tarpley said this a few months ago, I now agree with him, but I've got more to add when we come back. After the break, I'm going to really lay out what their current operation is and what their future plans are